For the first time at the back, here's Iwobi, he's got Aubameyang, big chance, this could be it for Arsenal, it is! He only needs one sniff usually, and puts it away and Arsenal get their breakthrough.
Welcome to the Planet Arsenal podcast, a weekly review of the latest Arsenal games. I'm Elliott Williams, sitting here with my good friend Denny Williams. Okay, where do you want to start?
I think, start with this morning's game.
How did you think Arsenal went overall?
I think overall they'll be very happy with the win.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the end of the game. Like they needed to start the Europa League with a win. I think they got it done. They scored 4 goals. They'll be happy with that. I think where they'll be disappointed is the conceding 2 goals late on. I think it exposed some frailties in that. One
of which was a defensive mistake by Lichtsteiner.
I was actually impressed with Lichtsteiner throughout the game. I thought he offered a lot more until that point. He offered a lot more defensively than what Bellerin does.
Yeah.
He was solid. His range of passing was a bit rusty, but he's been sitting on the beach, I think, for a bit too long, waiting for his chance, and he's new to the team. But I think we looked solid with him there.
Do you think it was a combination of both Torreira sitting in front of him and Lichtsteiner on that right back position with the natural defensive? I really like Bellerin. I think he offers a lot more going forward than what I saw from Lichtsteiner. Although Lichtsteiner can be known to go forward and attack really well, but I see Bellerin as a right wing rather than a right back. I think he's definitely more of an attacking fullback than he is a defending fullback, and he gets you a lot more going forward. Yeah,
but that going that far forward and that often, it will expose the defence. My question with Bellerin is, has he performed to the level he should have performed, given the amount of time he's been in that team and the way he started? He's gone through a bit of a rough spell, and I actually don't think right now. I don't think he's. If he came in and performed like he is now, I don't think he'd get picked. But the fact that he played so well to begin with, that he gets this sort of grace that you go, okay, well, he is very good, and he's played for Spain. He's he offers a lot, but there are definitely gaps in his game.
So what I like about Bellerin is when he does get forward, although his crosses in the air aren't the greatest, his balls along the ground are pinpoint. I found that since the start of the season, his crosses along the ground are perfect.
Yeah, I mean, when you've got the pace,
so many goals have come
burn,
off them too.
Yeah, the pace he's got to burn, getting in behind those defenders and getting to that byline and being able to pull it back. That to me has got to be his bread and butter.
So do you think it would be better for Emery to employ more of a Bellerin on that right wing and Lichtsteiner as a right back?
Nah. Personally, I think I don't think it really fixes a problem doing that.
They don't really have that right wing player at the moment.
Because I think you've got to look at it. If I said to you, here's a blank check, you can sign any player in the world, but it's got to be a right winger. I don't think you sign Hector Bellerin.
Yeah, but you've got him, and he's doing really well at that attacking.
I think
right
at
wing.
the end of the day, I think Lichtsteiner he's been bought at 30. Is he 34 years old? 33 years old? He's around that. He's not one that we bought for the future.
No,
he's a polished international. He's a born and bred winner. He's a leader in the dressing room, and I think he's someone that Bellerin should be looking at and going, that is a player that I want to emulate. Their games are a little bit different, but I think he should look at Lichtsteiner and say that's someone I want to sort of pick his good traits.
Yeah.
If it was me, if I was Emery right now, I would drop Bellerin, and I would bring Lichtsteiner in, and I'd say to Bellerin, sit on the bench. Let's have a look at this guy. Watch this guy. Watch what he does, and earn your place back in that side. Because otherwise, apart from the leadership in the dressing room, why have you bought or signed this player that's 34 years old if you're not going to utilise that?
Surely it's purely for Bellerin to
it's competition for Bellerin.
Even there was an interview with, I think, their official Arsenal YouTube channel, where Bellerin actually stated that he's keen to learn off Lichtsteiner.
But is he keen to learn off Lichtsteiner from the bench, or
Yeah.
I just think I really like Bellerin, and I don't want us to lose him because I do think he's got the potential. I think he's, for of what you've seen, what that he can do from the way he has played, he's got a hell of a lot to offer the team. But he's not playing very well at the moment, and I think put Lichtsteiner in, and play him for the foreseeable future, and then have Bellerin win his place back.
Yeah. So Iwobi, from the highlight, the 24-minute Optus highlight that I saw, didn't seem to have much of an impact. And when they did the lineup at the start, they had him playing on the right wing. Was that a mistake? Because it always seemed like he was playing on the left to me.
I'm not really sure Iwobi actually knows where he plays. I'm not sure he knows
He
really where he
actually
fits into this team.
Came out and said in an interview a couple of weeks ago that he didn't really have an idea of what he was supposed to do when he went onto the park, when Emery put him onto the park. I think that was a fair few games ago now, though. But
Yeah, I mean, he's played, really the only manager he's played under is Wenger and Wenger's style, and we've got a new manager now that plays a different style, and players will have different roles in that team. I've got a lot of time for Iwobi on the pitch. I think he offers a lot to the team. He's bustling, he's got energy. I don't think he ever goes out there and is half-assed with what he does. He doesn't always play very well, but he always reminds me of a bit of a headless chicken. Like he gets the ball, and sometimes he ends up in it in positions that you think, how did he get there? That's great. But there are times where you just think he looks down at the ball and he doesn't actually have that purpose of where he's going. I think he gets lost in that position. Again, I just...
Do you think he's a winger?
He actually reminds me, not skill-wise, but he reminds me of someone like Bergkamp that floats across that forward third, and he can get the ball in tight positions, and he can work his way into good positions. He's got quite a good range of passing. He links up with the players really well, but he's not. You don't look at him and go, well, he's just electric off the line and pace. He's not direct. I don't think he's the best finisher in the world. Yeah. So, I don't think he fits into any one of those positions as an out-and-out. But I think he offers right across. I think he's a luxury player to have in the team, because I think you could play him right across that forward line. And I think he offers something in every position. And he's young. So he's only going to get better. But it's about him developing from the players around him. But he's got to probably have a clearer idea of where he sits in the team.
Yeah, so the left wing position has been a bit of a problem for Emery at the moment. So he's been playing Aubameyang out on that left wing during the Premier League. To me, it doesn't seem like it's working at all. It seems like he's really uncomfortable playing that left wing position, Auba, and he's much better. And I think this morning's game was proof of that as that central striker. But with Lacazette doing so well, what do you do with that problem?
But you got 100.
Can you play both of them? Can you go back to that 4-4-2?
Oh, I think you can accommodate them both in the team. I think they're coming back to that old style striking friendship. You know what I mean? That real connection between two strikers. I don't feel when you see them together on the pitch, it doesn't look like they're competing against each other. It's like two best mates having a kick around, and they want each other to do well. I think that's a really good thing to have in the team. But you're right, Auba he's the player that you want on the end of them crosses. Yeah. Like today, when they come into the box like that he, of all the players that we've got, and
he seems to be a player that kind of breaks the mould of what Arsenal was the last however many years by actually having a shot outside the box. Yeah. We always seem to, under Wenger, wanted to dribble it into the goal.
Yeah, we just wanted to score the perfect goal, which was so frustrating at times.
And Auba has given us the option that he can shoot from range a bit, and he scored some really good goals this game and last game.
Yeah, no, he's a out-and-out 100% finisher.
Would that not make it the perfect opportunity to play Lacazette, who is more of the traditional Arsenal style of dribbling into the box and shooting, to be the best option? Would it be the best option to play them together? And Lacazette's more it's a completely different style of play, I think. They're completely different strikers. So Auba...
I think Lacazette offers you more receiving the ball with his back to goal. He likes to come back deep and get
Yeah,
the ball.
yeah, receive
He
the ball
floats
deep.
around and he'll draw. I think what he does quite well, and when he's got him and Auber on the pitch, is Lacazette will draw some players in, and he'll actually take them on where it allows Auber to get that space. And I think he's got a bit more range in his passing. His movement, I think, is a little bit better from deep. And I think
definitely.
I think he offers a lot to the team. I mean, we're in a position that we have not been in for a long time. Is we've got a luxury of having $100 million worth of strikers at our disposal, and where do we fit them in?
Yeah.
We've now got the players that we know can put the ball in the back of the net, and you're exactly right. They do it differently.
Yeah.
I think you've really got to make the amount you spent on Aubameyang and the goals that he scored. He's got to be that focal point of the attack where, when it's coming into the box, he's the one you want on the end of it.
Yeah.
Does that mean that Lacazette becomes more of an Henry style player where he comes a bit deeper? Does he go out wide and receive the ball? It also means, do we look at the way that the formation's played and the way the players that are picked? Because for my mind, as much as I think he's a good player, Mesut Ozil, I don't think he does enough. I don't think we get enough from the player that he is.
Yeah.
And I'd be quite happy to sacrifice him in the team at the moment.
Yeah.
And accommodate Lacazette and Aubameyang.
Yeah. The problem is if you're taking Özil out of the squad, who do you replace him with? Mkhitaryan, or as he played that central attacking mid position this morning, or Ramsey? But Ramsey doesn't seem to be he doesn't have anywhere near the creative playmaking ability.
I actually disagree with that. In my mind, Ramsey's our best player.
Yeah,
100%. I'll be devastated if we lose him.
I would say he's probably the hardest worker. Covers more ground than any other player on the pitch. That box-to-box midfielder. But I feel like he doesn't really fulfill a traditional role in that midfield of being in either attacking or a defensive midfielder. He's more just making up space.
I think he does a hell of a lot off the ball.
Yeah.
Draws players away. His touch, his movement within the game is, I think, probably the best that we've got in midfield. He's calm. He's passing and range of passing, I think, is great. And I think he scores enough goals to warrant the fact that he can play further forward, and he doesn't neglect his defensive duties. For my mind, I wish we hadn't spent $350k a week on Ozil. I would quite happily have sold him to Man United. I'll be disappointed if we lose Ramsey. And for my mind, I think Ramsey should be the captain. I think Ramsey should get the contract he wants. I think he should be the captain. And I think we should build the team around him from that midfield. Because I don't think we've got a better player.
Wasn't that was Emery's intention when he first came to Arsenal, to actually make Ramsey the linchpin in the squad?
I've read a couple of things, and I have read that, and for me that makes sense. So that's exactly what I would, if I had my say, that's what I would do. For some reason, I also have read that Emery has got big thoughts on Xhaka within this team and building the team around Xhaka and the way what he offers to the team. That's
another player that's completely flipped in terms of his ability since Emery's come in.
Well, what do you think? Do you think he's better or worse than what he was?
I think I truly believe that ability has always been there, but the fact that I think they've got him playing in the wrong position. I think he's more of an attacking midfielder than a defensive midfielder. He's better going forward than he is for covering in front of that back line.
I will agree with you that he has got better over the last couple of games.
Yeah.
I thought the most recent game he scored the free kick, he definitely had much more command on the game. But for me, Xhaka is rash. He makes poor challenges. He neglects his defensive duties. His positioning is wrong at a lot of times.
That's partially because he's not comfortable in that defending position, a defensive midfield position in front of that back line. I feel like he's not comfortable covering for the attacking part of the squad.
He definitely doesn't like doing it. I don't think he does it enough. He's slow. I don't think he's got the pace. I don't think his range of passing is particularly good. and he does have these games where he does play well. But for me, he's a player that I probably wouldn't have in that team.
Yeah.
I would much rather have Ramsey in there, and I would throw, if you want a shield for the defence, and the game this morning proved to me that I think Guendouzi, the French player, young French guy that we've signed, has played very well. He's surprised me with his composure on the pitch, but again, he's so young and he has made a few mistakes, and he's not the finished article. And it was proved today when he came on in place of Torreira. The all game we hadn't looked like conceding at all. Torreira was, for me, man of the match. He shielded the defence. His passing was good. His movement was good. His positioning was spot on. The second he went off, Guendouzi didn't really do anything wrong as such. Like he just didn't offer that shielding positional play that Torreira did, and we conceded 2 goals.
Yeah, I think Guendouzi in defence his positioning is terrible.
Yeah,
I think he's, again, a bit like...
He's young. He's basically he's learning his trade. I think he's a good side. He surprised me. I think we have got a bit of a bargain there, and I think he'll get better.
Oh, definitely.
But
I think
Torreira,
going forward, he's exceptional. He's constantly looking for that frontline pass.
Yeah, and he's like Iwobi. He's bustling. He seems to always want the ball, and he's done enough for me to say that I think we've got a good player. But Torreira played great at the World Cup. He's an international player. He's, played in Serie A. Me, he's who we should be playing in midfield. And, I think with him and Ramsey in midfield, I think we get a hell of a lot out of that. And then it's who you put round them.
Do you think that he's not started Torreira in the Premier League because he doesn't want to... Do you think it's a psychological thing? He doesn't want Guendouzi to think he's not as good, or doesn't want Xhaka to think, I don't know where my position is in the team, or...
Yeah, I think that might be part of it. Guendouzi started well. He didn't really do anything wrong, and how do you got to, players sort of egos and that you got to compete with, and he wants to know what players that he's got that work well and where they work well, and field that team. He's bought Torreira, so he obviously knows what he's bought. I think he's got plan. I had read that Torreira actually wasn't 100% fit at the start of the season after the World Cup. He was still struggling for match fitness and nursing a couple of injuries from last season. So, he almost went off today with a knee injury. So I think he definitely, that's probably been on his mind as well with who he started. It reminds me, Emery reminds me at the moment a bit of when Guardiola and Klopp came to Liverpool and Man City, and they came with these big reputations, and everyone was like, wow, we've got the best managers, that's going to turn it. And right at the beginning, there was some really funny results. Man City didn't win everything to begin with, and Liverpool certainly didn't. And everyone was like, oh, well, they've underestimated the Premier League. They've...
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think they thought that. They thought all these managers, they've thought the Premier League was there to be taken. But what it was they inherited teams that they didn't build.
That's what I was about to say. It took a couple transfer windows to implement the team that they wanted.
And one of the main things that Emery has changed is playing out from the back, which is not how Arsenal have played. And you can see with Cech that he's really not comfortable doing that. Cech's at the end of his career. So I think Leno is definitely going to become the Arsenal goalkeeper. And it very much like what happened at Man City with... they had Joe Hart, who was a great shot stopper, very good goalkeeper, but he didn't play the way that Guardiola wanted to play. And he eventually built the team around the goalkeepers that played the way he wanted to play, and built the team around that. And now you look at Man City and you think, wow, look at the way they play. Look at the pressing game, playing out from the back. They're so good at it. Yeah. And Guardiola's built that team. He gave those players a chance. So Hart was the incumbent goalkeeper, and he continued with him when he got there, even though he signed Edison straight away, and he didn't always play to begin with. And
I actually don't think Edison's as good as Pep thinks he is.
No, I definitely don't think he's as good a goalkeeper as what maybe you would think Man City need, but he gives the team what they want. What he can do with the ball at his feet sort of allows him to play that position. Mingale played for Liverpool. I guess exactly the same situation, and didn't really play the way Klopp wanted to play. And there was quite a few players in that Liverpool team that didn't quite fit into the way Klopp wanted. And again, funny results and people saying he didn't quite get the team right. But you just look, he's had 3 or 4 transfer windows now. And for my mind, Liverpool probably have the best team in the league at the moment.
Is that what it's going to take, though, to be competing with those teams? Is that you're going to have to spend 170 million in one transfer window?
Well, no, but Liverpool have spent a lot recently. They have spent a lot recently, but they've built a team over a couple of seasons. From the rumours are that with the stadium now paid off, that we do have money there, but we're not going to go and spend 200 million in a transfer window. That's not the way Arsenal do business.
That's not Kroenke's.
It's definitely
way.
not. And if any Arsenal fans think that that's what's going to happen, then they're going to constantly be disappointed. But if we have that 50 to 80 million available in the transfer windows, like he had in the summer, 3 or 4 transfer windows, and 3 or 4 really good players, I think I've seen enough from the way we've played under Emery to see that there is definitely something. Things have changed. I've seen enough in the games when we've played well. And Man City, a lot of teams will go there this season and won't pick up points. And neither did we. But at times in that game, we could have scored and we could have taken a point from that game had we, a few better decisions. We were unlucky. Man City were just clearly the better team on the day. Chelsea, to me, that was a game we threw away the chance to take home a point or even win.
Yeah.
And again, teams will go to Chelsea this season. They won't pick up points. So the fact that we've lost to those 2 teams in the first 2 weeks under a new manager, I say write that off. If we'd have won one of them games, people would be saying, the changes are happening. How good is this? We've now gone 3 games in the league on the bounce.
But do you think those wins are very convincing? Because
they're
against
wins.
West Ham,
They're wins.
I thought they were
the difference
really
is,
shaky.
Yeah, but they're wins. At the end of the day, last season, they were banana skins for Arsenal. Away from home, playing teams that we didn't beat. Are we going to win them all? I don't know. We're not going to win them all this season. I'd like to think we will, but we probably won't. But if we can continue to play like that and get the results, even if we don't play well, and we can scrape the results and do enough to get, especially away from home. I think our home form for the last while has been very good at the Emirates Stadium, and teams don't like going there. Last season
was second best to Man City, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So I think we've got a good enough fortress at the Emirates. We don't generally drop too many points there. If we fix the away form, I think Emery's got to think this season he's got to get back in the Champions League. That's got definitely to be his goal. I don't think we're going to win. We'd be naive to think you're going to win the league. But he's got 2 chances. He's got the Europa League, and I think the team that he fielded tonight showed that even though this was a team that we definitely should beat, and he threw enough stars at that team to say that that's obviously a priority for him, and that was the difference between him and Wenger. Wenger played a very weak teams at the beginning of the Europa League.
He did.
But this is a chance now for us to, we win that. If you win the Europa League, there's your Champions League spot, irrespective of what we do in the league.
Do you think it should be... What do you think he should prioritise, though? Trophy in Europa or top 4?
I think you've got to assess that at Christmas. Get through the Christmas period and see where we're sitting in the league. I've seen enough in the last few games to think that we could challenge for the top 4.
To be honest, I think I'd rather prefer a top 4 spot just for integrity.
As long as Tottenham don't finish
Europa.
in that top 4, I'll be very happy.
Yeah, over a Europa trophy. I'd rather a top 4 spot.
Yeah, definitely. I'd much rather... If you said to me, Daniel, here's the Europa League trophy and here's a top 4 spot in the league, you'd definitely take the top 4 spot because it cements the fact that you belong in that competition.
Yeah.
Not finishing 6th or 7th and getting through by the way of a lucky cup run. I think that that's got to be the sort of goal. And like I said, as long as Tottenham aren't in that top 4, I'd consider it a successful season.
Yeah, agreed. So with the defence, Socrates was a bit shaky at the start of the season. I wasn't sure if he was going to be worth the 16 million that we'd paid for him. He's relatively old for a footballer now. The last 2 games, has he not been one of the better players on the pitch?
He's commanding. I think he offers a hell of a lot in defence. Yeah. He knows his position.
Yeah.
I've been impressed with him.
I thought against what was the last club game? The Premier League game?
The Newcastle.
Yeah, Newcastle. He was completely dominating in and he covered for Mustafi's mistake.
Yeah, I mean,
He
I
covered
think
for Bayerin at one stage.
I'll reserve judgment on the defence. I'd like to see Lichtsteiner, Koscielny, Socrates, and Monreal. I don't really mind who the goalkeeper is. I'd like to see Leno given a chance, but I think Czech hasn't, apart from a couple of loose plays out the back. I don't think he's really made a mistake.
It's just his footwork.
It's horrendous,
Yeah,
you're asking a guy that's played for 15, 20 years at the top level and to completely change the way he plays.
Yeah, and now because the league, well, not just the Premier League, but the world is changing to that sweeper keeper style.
Yeah.
I think Czech's finding it difficult to adapt.
And he will.
Against Newcastle, his second half was so much better with his footwork.
It was like people got to remember.
It's like he flicked a switch.
Yeah, he's a great goalkeeper, and he's a. It's horrible to actually criticise Czech as a goalkeeper.
I think
because he's not playing the way that Emery wants to play, or he's not used to playing that way. If we just talk about if Leno turns out to be half as good as Czech at his best, then we've got a good keeper.
Yeah,
Czech's, yes, we got him at the back end of his career, and I think his better days are behind him. His best days are behind him. But I think, he will eventually succumb to Leno. Leno will become the Arsenal number one. It's not a question of, if it's a when, and it probably will take a poor game where he makes a couple of mistakes, which he did do last season. And I think when that happens, Leno will come in, and I do think from that point it will be hard, providing Leno is as good as what I think from what I've seen. I think it'll be hard for Czech to win that spot back.
So you think Ospina's got no way of coming back into this squad?
No. I don't think Ospina is a good enough goalkeeper. I think he's a great shot stopper. He does
plays
something
for the Colombian national team, which aren't a team to scoff at. They're one of the best national teams out there, I think.
Yeah, I think he's a good goalkeeper, but I don't think he's good enough for what we need.
Yeah.
And I've never been comfortable with Ospina in goal. You've always got your heart in your mouth about what is he going to do. He's capable of brilliance. He's also capable of some flapping and gifting balls to the opposition. And I think with what you get with Czech at the back is much more assured goalkeeping. I think the defence is a lot calmer with him behind them.
Yeah.
And I think you'll get that with Leno as well. You got to not forget, we've got Martinez as well, he's never, every time I've seen him play, he's never done anything wrong. He's a great young goalkeeper.
Yeah. It might not be fair to judge him on this, but some of the Arsenal official videos of them in training, I've never really been impressed by him.
Yeah, I'm the world's best striker in training. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's training. I think they're working on their game, and it's completely different to win a game.
Yeah,
I don't think he's in that position. I don't think he's been at the club a little while now. He's
Yeah. So with Mustafi, what do we do?
Sell him.
You want to sell him?
Yeah.
You don't think he'd improve under Socrates? Because
No.
I think you can occasionally see, I think in the Newcastle game, Socrates barking orders at his other defenders. You don't think Mustafi would improve? And then perhaps Koscielny wouldn't have a place to come back into the squad. And Koscielny, I think, wanted to leave last transfer window had he not got injured.
Yeah, I'm not a big
And
fan.
Mustafi's got age on his side too. He's still relatively young.
I think he cost us 30 million, didn't he, at the time when we
he
bought him?
wasn't
He was expensive. He came with a good report card and someone we could build a team around.
His first season at Arsenal was awesome. He was really good.
Yeah, he just lost his way.
When he got injured, he kind of, I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I don't know. He did, but last season he was calamity after calamity at the back. And he's not started this season a great deal better. No. Do you feel comfortable when he's at the back?
See, I'm in the mind that I think with Socrates there, who has the ability to cover for Mustafi's mistakes, as we saw against Newcastle, I think Mustafi will become more confident and a better defender. And
how many mistakes does he have to make? How many mistakes does he have to make? How many does Socrates have to cover for?
Yeah,
I think Koscielny's a much better. Koscielny's probably the pick of our defenders.
Yeah?
Yeah, I rate him. I think he's leader on the pitch, off the pitch. He scores important goals. He's solid at the back. He's quick. He's got good positioning. And I think he's often, exactly like what Socrates is doing at the moment, he's covered a hell of a lot of games that we've won, and maybe we've, luckily kept a clean sheet or only conceded the one goal. And I think if you look back at a lot of them, there'll be a Mustafi mistake within there that Koscielny has covered up. I'd like to see Koscielny and Socrates at the back and just see whether they can build a partnership. But exactly like you said a minute ago, they're both on the wrong side of, that youth bracket, and they're not got a huge amount of seasons left under their belt with us at the top level. So I think constantly, what do? Do you keep Mustafi and hope that he learns, sees that partnership and learns to become the defender that I think few of us thought he might be? Or do you sell him before his contract runs out and get some half-decent money for him and then bring someone in?
Yeah, well, surprisingly, they tried to sell him last year.
Yeah.
After only having him for a couple of years. Another problem, though, I see is where does Sead Kolasinac come into this with Monreal performing so well?
Yeah. Monreal, I didn't used to like him. I used to think he was a weaker player. But I think he's leadership. He's a leader. The players like him.
He was clearly the best player last season,
yeah.
I think, in my mind.
He scored enough. He scored important goals. I think he did enough at the back. The fact that he's got a run in the Spain team as well, with the quality of players they've got, show that he's obviously got something there. Seed, I think he's, again, the way he started, I thought, wow, who is this player that we've signed off? I'd never even heard of him.
Yeah.
And I thought he was great. He's gone off the boil a little bit.
Yeah. It's strange that he got into the best German team the season before he came to us, but he hasn't really shone through at Arsenal.
No.
You can tell that he's physically like one of the stronger players on the pitch.
Yeah.
But occasionally he lets a few simple mistakes.
Yeah, and I think that comes down what you were saying with Mustafi. His positioning's not always the best. He often finds both him and Mustafi, both of them, one of the main areas that they need to work on is that they ball watch during the games. So often you see the attack building, and as soon as you look at it, that comes into view, you see where they're positioning themselves, and you can see that there's trouble coming. Whether he's been caught too far forward or he's not watching the ball and someone's snuck in and they're not offside and he's playing them all. I think, and both of them have that in their game that they need to, that's something that they need to work on. But that's also something that comes with playing week in, week out. So it's sort of like catch-22. I don't really want Mustafi in the side, but I think he's only going to get better if he, like what you're saying, if he is in the side learning off them players. I don't think he's going to get it sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
And because Kolasinac is exactly the same. I think he needs to play. When he has a run in the team, he gets better. But for my mind, I wouldn't drop Monreal for him right now.
No. Do you think it might be a case of, depending on the opponent, would be best to switch them out? So
definitely, yeah. Have a look at who you're
playing.
The
weaker teams, you bring Kolasinac in.
Yeah. Or just who's in that position, who's going to be playing where. Like, if he's going to come up against someone like, even like with Palace, like Zaha, Wilfred Zaha, on that, coming in from the wide and that, with what he can do with the ball, I would rather have Monreal there.
Monreal's got the speed.
But maybe someone else where you think, okay, well, they're not going to play, they're not going to focus on that bit of the team. I think give him a run. Because he does offer a lot to the team. He's, like you said, he's strong. He's good in the tackle. I think he's got quite a good range of passing.
Know how strong he is as well.
Yeah, he's intimidating. You wouldn't. I think players wouldn't want to see him bearing down on them full flight.
No, you'd probably be pretty afraid.
He's a big unit.
Gonna break you.
But he's got a bit of pace. I actually think his final ball's pretty good. Like he makes some good decisions.
He's popped up and scored some goals for us too. So
yeah, but that's probably, of all the things that Monreal does, that's probably one of his strengths, is the fact that he finds himself in the right place at the right time, and often at an important time. He scores some big goals for us.
Yeah.
But this is a player that I didn't like. I thought he was our weakest player. I hated him. But he's grown on me. I actually
I was the same. Last season, I think Monreal really proved himself. But do you think he's as good going forward as Bayern down that? Like,
No.
because they're both playing
They
that
both
sort
play
of
very
wing
similar,
back,
yeah.
wing back role. Monreal's clearly better at getting back and positioning
Yeah.
himself defensively, but I think Bayern's far better going forward.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, the Bayern going forward he's like having an extra attacker on the pitch. He can do stuff with the ball at his feet. Like you said, when he gets in behind, his decision where he pulls the ball back to or who he picks out is generally pretty good in them situations. Any ball over the top, wide, he must frighten the life out of the defenders and the midfields that he comes up against because he is rapid.
Yeah,
He's so quick. He's like Walcott quick, like probably even quicker. But Walcott was more devastating in that shorter sort of 20 to 30 metre burst where he could just burst onto a ball. You see Bayern coming racing from the edge of his own 18-yard box, taking on the pit like down that wing. He'd be frightening to play against someone if you'd be constantly what he offers to the team is the defenders on the other team can't play that higher line. They can't run the risk of giving him open grass behind them because if they do, you've got players like when you do have people on song like Mesut Ozil and Mkhitaryan and players like that, Ramsey that can pick a pass. He's a weapon. He's a weapon to have in that situation. He just needs to work on his defence. He needs to work on when and where he uses that because he needs to be not getting caught forward so often and leaving. And maybe that's part of, maybe Mustafi is not as good as maybe we think he's not as good as he is because he gets caught out because he has to cover those sort of things.
Well, against Newcastle, the goal, the goal that they scored, their last goal.
Yeah.
That was a Bayern mistake.
It just
That was
caught,
Bayern not getting back.
That's exactly
covering.
right, yeah.
So, I
But,
guess when it's in that situation, you can see Bayern making the mistake, but occasionally maybe you might,
And he's got sometimes he has enough. Sometimes he makes a mistake, but he has got the pace to actually he can get back
cover
and
back.
cover back. But
And we have seen him do
Yeah.
that. We've seen him make some of those last ditch efforts that completely save a goal.
Probably for me with Bayern, one thing that annoys me is the fact sometimes he doesn't look like he cares. You get that impression that he thinks he's so good that he just doesn't care, and I'm sure that's not the case.
Yeah,
I'm sure he doesn't think that, but he just gives that impression sometimes.
See, that's
what
my
Mesut Ozil
impression
does
of
as well.
Ozil.
He doesn't. You look at him sometimes and you think,
do you even want to be there?
Where's your heart? Like, no wonder the big team. No wonder we have you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? No wonder we have you because if you were as good as what you are, your ability was as good, and your effort was up there with your ability, you wouldn't be. You'd be playing for someone else. You wouldn't be playing for Arsenal still. And I love Arsenal, but our days of attracting those sort of players now are a bit behind us until we sort of break back into that Champions League.
Do you? That's how I feel about Mesut. He's a class player. He's really good, but his attitude. I know a lot of people criticise him about this, and it's probably not helping that. You get constant criticism about your attitude and everything. But Newcastle was a perfect example. As soon as he loses the ball, he gives up and stops chasing.
Yeah.
Whereas Ramsey, probably one of the reasons why you like him so much is he
he's
not
effort.
quit.
There's effort
He
there. I don't
just
think.
won't
Yeah,
quit.
he plays for the badge on the shirt.
Yeah.
I think years ago when we won the first, the first double I saw, not the first double, but the '98 double that I was around watching the games then. We had just a phenomenal team, and it was at the beginning of that Arsene Wenger reign, and he'd brought in players like Mark Overmars and things like that. But Mark Overmars was like Mesut Ozil. He did nothing for you defensively, but the difference with him and Mesut Ozil is he played to his ability all the time.
Yeah,
he was a winner. And he linked up with the team, and he didn't often get on there and think, "Oh, he's not trying, he's not in the mood." He was always in the mood. Did he always defend? No, he made stupid decisions. He wouldn't track back, but that was the way he played, and what he did with the ball nearly every time. He scored goal after goal after goal in that double winning season, and he did for the next season until we sold him to Barcelona. That's what we don't get with Ozil. Ozil is on song sometimes, and when he is on song, there are not many players. For a player that has played as bad as he has at times, he's still. I think he's knocked up 200 games for us. Yeah. What has he got? 30 or 40 goals, 66 assists. I think he's in the 200 games. He's contributed to nearly 100 goals for Arsenal through assists and scoring. That's a phenomenal record for someone that is giving you half-assed games half the time.
Yeah.
So imagine if he actually played to his ability all the time. Imagine if he was always in the mood.
I think it was about 2 seasons ago. He had like the most assists in the Prem.
It was like 40 assists or something.
That was an insane season for him. So good.
So he's obviously got it in his locker.
Yeah. But yeah, now that he's kind of just dropped off the pace, and he has that skill still. He can still see it.
I don't want to. It sounds horrible. I don't want to see him doing it.
Yeah.
On a Tuesday night in the League Cup against bloody Leeds United. I don't want to see him. I like it's great, but I don't really want to see it. I don't care if he does it then, because we've got other players that will do it against them teams. I want to see him step up against Man United. I want to see him step up against Liverpool and Chelsea and take their big players out of the game with his range of passing. Because he's got it in his locker, and if he does it, we will win them games, and we'll win games that people go, geez, Arsenal are on song, but that's what a £350,000 a week or 350,000 a week player does for your team.
Yeah.
And I'll ask you, do you agree? Do you think he gives that to the team? Do you think he's
not worth the money that he's being paid at the moment? No way.
Not a chance.
Yeah, it's quite devastating, really, as an Arsenal fan, that he's getting paid so much.
I was elated when he signed the contract. I was elated when we kept him because I knew he had it in his locker. And I thought
we were
maybe
also frustrated over the Sanchez issue, and if we'd let another world-class
Sanchez.
Player,
I didn't want Sanchez.
Yeah,
anyone that wants to hold your team to ransom, they've got no place in my team.
Is that not what Ramsey's doing right now?
Well, no, because I think Ramsey.
I think it's fair.
I think Ramsey wants a contract,
but I think it's fair to ask for as much as you can and want the best contract, especially when the highest paid player in your team
is useless at
times.
Is
not playing anywhere near as well as anyone else on the pitch. But is he not doing what Sanchez
When we won
did?
the FA Cup last time, and when we had a bit of a run in the league, Ramsey was the driving force behind all of that. And I think he single-handedly won us the FA Cup that year.
Yeah.
You know, his play. I just think, for me, Ramsey is absolute quality. And we'd be mad. If he goes to someone like Man United or a Liverpool or a Chelsea, or goes over... Well, if he goes overseas, I probably won't be as disappointed because he's not going to damage you.
Yeah.
But if he goes to someone like
Chelsea
or Man United, we'll regret it. You will regret it because he will... And he already is a quality
It'll always
player.
be against Arsenal that he pops up and scores a bucket.
But he always has scored goals.
Yeah.
I think a few seasons ago he was up near 20 goals for the season.
Yeah.
You know, and
yeah. I think though the problem would be is that if you retain Ramsey, you're going to have to pay him a shitload. You're going to have to pretty much almost match what Ozil's on.
Yeah.
And if that's the case,
I'd
say the likely instance is that they're going to have to either sell someone in the squad to compensate.
Well, you've got to balance
Ramsey.
the books. They've got to balance the books. But for me, what Arsenal have on their side, like Ramsey is worth money. He's worth more than what he's on.
Oh, definitely.
But I don't think he's worth 350k. And the reason for that is, yes, he is a fantastic player on the pitch, and I think he should be capped in. But I think part of that wage, it all comes down to what their commercial saleability is. And with Mesut Ozil, you've got a World Cup winner. He's played for Real Madrid. He's famous all over the world, and he sells shirts. Even if he's playing bad, people want Ozil on their back. Not as many people, and this is horrible, but not as many people want Ramsey on their shirt. He's commercially, he's not as big a name. And that's why he can't pay him 350k because you can't justify it because he doesn't sell, like Ozil will sell the shirts. Like you look at Man United with Alexis, you know, they sold him, but they bought him and, you know, they probably made the money back on the sale with shirt sales straight away because he's a famous household name. And Ramsey, as good as he is, he's not in that bracket. He doesn't play in the World Cups. He doesn't, you know... Simple as that. He's not worth. No one's worth 350k a week.
Yeah.
But But I think we should break the bank to try and sign him on a longer term deal. And if that means we have to sell some players in the team, then we might have to. It just depends who they're thinking of selling.
Yeah, well,
'Cause
I'd say if they're trying to come close to Ozil's wage, then they're going to have to sell someone important.
Yeah.
They can't just sell a measly.
I think you'll find
sub-player.
someone, and it's not really the money that they don't need the transfer money. They just need to get the wage bill down. They just need to get rid of those wages. And you're right, like you said earlier, maybe someone like Koscielny who's on pretty good money. Maybe, and I don't really want Lacazette to go, but if he isn't going to start every game and he's a good player, he surely, you've got to think that he's probably would be thinking about where his future lies elsewhere.
Yeah.
Not that I want that to happen. I don't.
If you sell Lacazette though, then you've got no cover for Alba. As soon as if Alba gets injured,
I've got Danny Welbeck.
Welbeck's great as a super sub type player, and he scores.
He scores
this
goals.
morning.
Like he's. I feel sorry for it because I think. What I remember when we bought him, and we got it was only 16 million. It was a cheap player.
Yeah.
But one thing that I remember is that every Man United fan I spoke to was actually disappointed that they'd lost him. And when you see like the game today, this morning, he was really good. Like he scored, he did his job.
He's kind of
he
like
scored. He offers a lot on the ball.
replacement
He's
for-
quick. He's got good touch. He's good positioning. He doesn't make rash decisions. He's not going to spend 2 or 3 games on the sidelines because he's picking up yellow cards. He's not explosive enough. He's not going to bag you 30 goals a season.
No.
And because of that, he's never going to start as your striker.
Yeah,
But-
I like how good he has been on the ball with and receiving balls in the air and heading it into the goal this morning. It's very Giroud-esque, and I was really disappointed. Although Giroud's as slow as a friggin' sloth.
The most immobile striker in the world.
Yeah, he's so slow, but he'd always come up and
Scores important
not in
goals.
a goal.
Yeah.
He was so good at it.
He was good. He was a good player.
This morning, and against a recent Premier League game, he Welbeck has kind of had that glimpse of Giroud. Comes on, scores a goal.
Welbeck's always got a goal in him. It's just, I think he's one of those, it's unfortunate for him, he's one of those players that genuinely needs game time.
Yeah.
If he just comes on every now and then and doesn't play, you'll see glimpses of it, but you're not going to get it. But I think if you gave him a run in the side, he'd probably exceed your expectations. But then if you give him a run in the side, who are you going to, he's only ever going to be injury cover for
Is he maybe
Arsenal.
the left wing that we need?
Well, he could be. Could he change his position?
Yeah. I think he could be.
I think he's got
speed.
enough speed. He's got enough skill. His passing's good. He's strong.
Yeah.
Why couldn't he play on the left wing?
Yeah. Do you think Emery's got the team selection worked out yet? Do you think he's got the right team selection yet?
No, well, I think he's got the right. Well, Torreira needs to come in.
Yeah. That could be
We'll-
reasons
yeah.
we don't.
Well,
we don't know
hopefully
about that.
it's just maybe an injury thing or a
Yeah.
fitness thing. That's because he was clearly the best player on the pitch today for Arsenal. Like he ran the game. I think he's got the team that he wants right now. Let's just say we get Torreira and he's got the team that he wants. I don't. You can throw Lichtsteiner and Bayer in. You toss a coin. I would rather one. I think you'd rather maybe the other. I think right now we've got the team that Emery can field, but I don't think it's the team that he wants. Now, that's probably because the players that he wants aren't at the club yet. Because he's been fairly shrewd in that transfer market. There was, it's a year of a World Cup. There's so many players that played well in that tournament that were up for money that could have gone, but he's held off and he's bought the players that he did a lot of his business so early in the transfer window.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you'll see from him. I think what you'll see is he'll get the players that he wants. I'll give him. I'd hate to be one of them clubs that their manager changes every couple of years. I'd hate for us to go to that now.
Yeah.
I just despise it.
Yeah.
And I was one of those people that wanted Wenger gone, not because I didn't think he was a good manager. He's a phenomenal manager.
Yeah.
But I think we needed the change. I think Arsenal did. But what I don't want
a lot of players were becoming way too complacent.
Oh, definitely. They were jobs
and
for life.
Bayern, one of them.
Exactly.
I think Bayern is great. He's one of my favourites. But yeah, under Wenger,
Just stale.
Way too complacent.
I think people just thought, and I just think with Wenger that the team just sort of complacent. Like, you know, they knew they were safe. He's not one of these rash managers that chops and changes. He's got his philosophy, and it was never going to change. We needed the change, so I'm very glad that we got rid of him when we did. Well, sorry, we didn't get rid of him either. You know, we've got to remember that he left. He decided it was time.
Well, that's questionable.
I think what you'll see is, you know, we've lost Gazidis now.
Yeah. Do you think that matters?
Not really.
No,
I think he did.
think it
He obviously, he's one of them people. You probably don't know all the work that he did do in some of the transfers, but I think what you'll see is that a lot of the work that he did in the last year or so, bringing other people into the club, wrestled a lot of the control Wenger had because Wenger had it was unheard of. Like, the managers today don't have the control that Wenger had of who they sign, when they sign, you know, contracts. Wenger was sort of involved in everything, and I think they wrestled a lot of that control away from Wenger. Had they not have done that, I guarantee you Wenger wouldn't have left.
Do you think that it could be dangerous veering too much to the other side, though, in giving the signing control over to Sven Mislintat and Raul Sanelli?
Sanelli, yeah. Look, they've. I think the Sanelli came from Dortmund, and Dortmund had a really good transfer policy. They brought some really good players. They were strong in the transfer market.
Emery's the one that's playing the squad.
Yeah, but that's the synergy that you've got to have. That the manager's got to have some say. Commercially, the board and that will want names like, you know, Ronaldo. They want names, you know, like Neymar, because they sell shirts, and commercially they're great players, irrespective of how well the team plays. If you have players like that in the team, you're going to sell so much merchandise. And so obviously those players in those directors of football and, you know, head of, you know, recruitments and that they're obviously gonna have their eye on that commercial side. And if it is only that the reason they're buying players and selling players and, you know, moving players on and bringing ones in, I don't think that works. But you've got to give some control back to the manager. So Emery has to have some say in the transfers, and I think he'll have his players that he wants. And you're hoping that he goes to them and they're having these discussions, and he's got, these are the players that I want. So we've got these 2 windows that I want to get at least these players. And outside of that, there'll be signings like Guendouzi. Now, I don't think that was an Emery signing. From what I've heard, that was a...
Because he was a PSG youth, wasn't he?
He was, but I heard that was they were already talking to him before Emery came. That's what I heard.
Because I heard that it was Emery that got him over the line.
Well, yeah, maybe it was. Maybe it was Emery that got him over the line. But I read that they were looking at him even when Wenger was there.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But it's funny that, because, you know, that is it Rabo or whatever his name is for PSG?
Yeah, Adrian Rabiot.
Yeah, he was almost over the line. Apparently Wenger wanted him, but Emery's came in and that all went really cold. So what I like to think is that maybe he does have some say in that. I'd hope he would, because he's obviously... Because
you could probably say Rabiot is very similar to Ramsey.
Or maybe he just didn't, like... He got dropped from the French team and things like that. So there's obviously there's obviously a personality, in my mind, there's maybe a personality issue there. Maybe he's a bit of a dickhead.
Yeah, perhaps.
And that might be why he was dropped from or he didn't make the French squad. So I just think, what I would hope is that Emery has enough say in the transfers that he desperately wants. So these are the players that I want. But we also, you know, obviously the directors of football and things like that will have their say in who they think should be coming. And you also got to remember that it's a whole club, you know. You know, there are certain things that the club will want, and there are people employed in them positions that know the game as well, and they'll work with Emery. Apparently, when Emery went through that interview process of Arsenal, he blew them away with the direction that he wanted to take the club.
Portfolio of what each player needed to do to improve,
and who they needed to bring in. Yeah. So hopefully that's already starting to happen. Yeah, because I didn't see Torreira coming at all.
Neither did I.
I'll be honest. I'd seen his name a couple of times watching Serie A, but I had no idea who he really was.
I'd honestly never heard of him.
But as soon as I heard who he was, and then the World Cup came up, I did watch the Uruguay games. And I was watching him thinking, surely we're not going to get this player, because he was really good.
Yeah.
And
Do you think Sionku, whose name was thrown around a bit as could have been a coming in, the Turkish player?
the defender,
Yeah.
the Freiburg defender.
Do you think that's a bit of a miss? Like, do you think we missed out on him? Not
Yeah,
bringing him
well,
because he has age on his
watched,
side.
yeah,
He's really
he's
young.
very young, and I watched. Admittedly, it was just YouTube footage, but I watched a fair bit of it and thought he looked really good.
Yeah.
Didn't he go to Everton or someone? Didn't he get signed he ended up moving, didn't he?
I think he's still in Germany.
Okay, I thought he moved on, but yeah, I think he was. I was disappointed we didn't sign him, but it was sort of shut out. We ended up getting Socrates at the time, and I thought, okay, well, we've got an established, Champions League player. But yeah, I did think we missed an opportunity. But they were talking 30. They were talking 30, 40 million for a guy that's.
Yeah, he's not worth it.
Yeah, and I think that would have been a lot of money to spend.
Do you think we're maybe a bit too loaded with youth defenders right now? We've got that aren't also sort of showing up to be anyone that's going to take
Rob
over from
Holding,
Socrates or
people
Koscielny.
like that.
Holding and Mavropanos as well. Are they good enough to go to slot in as the first? And do you think that maybe also what turned off Mislintat or Emery from signing?
Yeah, well, I
Sionku,
think
because we've got so many youth defenders there.
I think
too.
that's probably a fair call.
And Chambers as well.
All of them players, I think, have got the capability of becoming a good player, but they're not there now. But with the likes of Mavropanos or whatever his name is, and Holding and Chambers, as good as they can be, and I've seen them do some good things. I really do think that every time I see their name in the starting lineup in defence, I'm worried, and I reckon other teams look at it and they think we'll get at them here because they've got this fella in.
You're right. He's gone. Kegla Sionku's come to Leicester City.
Leicester City, yeah. I thought he had moved.
Yeah,
I do think we missed a potential. But again, Leicester haven't really been playing that well, so I don't know. I've not actually even seen him play, so I couldn't tell you how
Wiki
well
says he hasn't even played a game though.
Yeah, so. But he came with big raps, big report card saying that he was the next big thing, and Freiburg didn't want to lose him. There was apparently big teams. I think some of the Italian big teams and the Spanish big teams looking at him.
The papers were actually saying that Sionku himself had said that he was going to Arsenal.
I think if you read about him, his dad or something is his agent, and his dad did a press release saying that the deal was pretty much done.
Yeah.
And I think maybe Arsenal had agreed terms with him or something, but
didn't get it over
the line because there's no way Arsenal, I think, would have spent 40 million on him at all.
Way too much.
Way too much for him.
Yeah, particularly after they've brought in players that weren't as proven as well, like Mustafi, that have kind of just not lived up to their price tag.
I'm also glad that we didn't sign a lot of players after the World Cup, because the World Cup, you see some...
Explodes the price.
Yeah, it explodes the price, and players play amazing for a couple of games.
Yeah. The World Cup fever.
Yeah, and they end up not... Do you remember Man United signed after, I think it was Euro 96, they signed like Karol Poborski and people like that in Euro 96 were on fire, and they weren't terrible, but they never really did much for the club.
Yeah.
Compared to what they actually did at the tournament. And
I
always think of that. I always think, don't sign the players straight after the World Cup, unless it's a deal that's just too good to be true.
Yeah. I think what was really good about the Torreira deal is that they'd already had him in their sights.
Yeah.
And we're trying to get him over the line before
we knew about
him
before the World Cup, because I remember reading about him and
the
then
World Cup
actually
was just
watching
like
the World Cup going,
an exhibition for Arsenal fans to go, holy shit, this guy's great.
This good, yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're the spot on there. It'd be interesting to see with the transfers what's happening. But like I said, I do think I think Emery's got to be allowed at least, I don't know, another 2, maybe 3 transfer windows and just see where he goes. I don't want Arsenal to be one of them teams that if we don't make the Champions League this season or we don't do anything, that he gets the boot and then we get someone else in the same boat with it. I think you've got to give him an opportunity. And that opportunity is to give him the transfer windows and let him build. They did it. Klopp was allowed to do it at Liverpool. He's had a couple of years now, and he's now built. Yeah, in my mind, they're the best team in England at the moment.
If Klopp, after spending 170 million plus in the last transfer window, if he doesn't, which is effectively his entire Champions League budget gone, like the Champions League money that they would have got from last season, all gone.
Yeah, but
he has to win the Premier League with spending that much money.
I mean, you don't spend that much money without thinking.
Do you think his job's safe if he doesn't win the Premier League this season?
Well, you'd have to say no, because managers are getting sacked for a hell of a lot less. But I think it depends in the manner that they they don't win the Premier League. So if they go to the final 2 weeks of the season and it's down to that wire and it goals for, goals against, comes up to a game against who you need to beat and they need to, it goes either way. I think your job's safe. If it gets to 10 games out from the season, they're in with a chance. Remember when we didn't win the league when Leicester won it?
Yeah.
That would, Wenger potentially should have gone then, sort of thing, when that was our big golden opportunity to win the league.
That was the year that Spurs choked on the last day, wasn't it, against Newcastle, who were getting relegated.
Yeah.
Lost 4-0, and we won our game, and which put us over top of Spurs.
Yeah, it's just a to me that was capitulating. We had the league was ours. We beat Leicester in the lead up, put ourselves within striking distance, and then went on a horror run.
Yeah.
And to me, that was capitulation. That was horrible to watch. As an Arsenal fan, I was just thinking, and as no disrespect to Leicester, they played well all season. They deserved to win it, but it's Leicester City,
exactly.
And if you're ever going to have a chance of winning the league, that was the season Arsenal could have done it. And look at it now, like Man City and Liverpool and Man United all vying for those spots. Spurs are now playing well, which makes me feel sick every time I say that. But
here's my thoughts on Spurs. Without Harry Kane, they're average.
Well, proof in the pudding. He's not scoring, and they're not.
Yeah,
they're not playing particularly. I mean, they've got some results this season, but they're not playing particularly well. He's definitely. If they lose, I think there's talk of Eriksen potentially going and Alderweireld at the back, and if Kane doesn't score, I think they are a very average team when you take them few players out. For my mind, like Eric Dyer's, I don't know how he even gets in the England team. I think he's horrendous. The last game I saw him play was shocking. Dele Alli's reading too much of his bloody Instagram profile.
Sure
he's just like he's gone off the boil. Yeah. He was useless for England at the World Cup. I thought he was so overrated. Like he just didn't perform. So yeah, but you know what? I absolutely love seeing it.
Yes,
it's like that. Arsenal can do whatever they want. If you see Spurs playing like that, I'm happy.
Yeah. So now that we've had a few players move out of the club over the last 2 seasons, is there anyone that coming up to the Everton game against Theo Walcott as well? Is there anyone that you kind of miss? Do you miss Giroud? Like I kind of miss Giroud.
Oh yeah, I think Giroud offered you that sort of. You always thought there was a goal in him. Even when he wasn't starting, if they threw him on, I always thought we'll nick something here. Giroud's on now. Well, you get that ball in the air and get it in the box, and he was very good.
Yeah, he was.
I think what
thriller.
I feel Walcott was one of them players. I was disappointed when we sold him. I still remember the year. I think he ended up when he played striker for that season, and he scored like 30 goals. Yeah. Like, what more do you need to do to tell people that you want to play? And it was no secret he wanted to play that position.
Yeah.
But he had the season and he banged in all them goals. And the very next season he's back out on the wing.
Yeah,
and I always
thought,
that was it, wasn't it? Like injuries were one of them. Like with Wilshere. That's
another one. I was pretty disappointed, but now that he has gone,
and he's just got injured for West Ham again.
I know.
And you just think,
we just escaped then. We just escaped him
being injured again. Because you build your team around players like that. He's in the squad. He gets the shirt number. You don't sign a certain player because you've got Wilshere in your team because he's good enough. He's an England international. He's got it in his locker to be as good as what people think he can be.
Yeah.
But exactly like you're saying there, we dodged a bullet. We got rid of him, and sure enough, I liked him, and I hope to see him do really well at West Ham. I'd love to see him back in the England squad and playing well. But when he got injured, I just remember my first thought was, feel sorry for West Ham because that's like the third player they've now lost with injury, and they've spent big time. They spent big time, and he's still young, Yeah. So he's a player.
And he's got talent.
Yeah, very good player. Very good player.
If he'd stayed at Arsenal, I know you wanted Ramsey as your captain, but I wanted them to build the squad around Wilshere. As long as he stayed fit, that was always the problem with Wilshere, is that he was
getting caught having bangers in the locker room. Yeah.
So but I thought in terms of playmaking and directing the play, he was so good.
He was very good. His linking play between midfield and attack, and
well above his years as well. Like when you saw him in his youth, like he's not old, but when he was younger,
26 or 26, 27 years old, he's still
like
young.
When he was 22 and 23, he was like, you could see that he was so friggin' amazing directing the play.
Yeah, he's a good player. Walcott, again, another player that I felt sorry for. Again, I don't blame him for leaving, and I guarantee you when he turns up at Emirates Stadium, as when Wilshere does, he'll get a standing ovation, he'll get an applause.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they left because they weren't playing good. They didn't leave because, the fans didn't like him, not like the Alexis debacle. They left because they couldn't get in the team, and they needed to. They needed to be in the team, and they've gone to teams where they know they've not gone for a paycheck. They've gone to get games.
Well, you couldn't blame Wilshere for not wanting to spend another season in friggin' reserves.
Exactly.
You look at his reserve games when he was just coming back from injury. He's so much better than any player in those squads.
Exactly.
And he's like leaps and bounds better than anyone in the competition in the reserve.
Well, look at Everton now with Walcott. He's one of the they love him.
Yeah,
he's scoring goals.
He scored two on his debut, didn't he?
But he's providing goals. He's linking up with their players. He's a quality player. He's a quality professional.
Yeah. Do you think over the next coming games we can win those ones against it's Everton's next? They haven't really been performing well.
No, and I'll go back to what I said at the beginning when you said, are they convincing wins?
Mm.
Well, they're not. They're not convincing wins that we've got, but they are games that last season we lost. Yeah. Last season we didn't take the points. So we go to Everton this week, and if we win, then to me that's proof in the pudding that we're going in the right direction.
Yeah.
And if we don't, then it's much of the same, and back to the drawing board and Emery out.
Yeah, we've got a string of games coming up that you would hope that we won.
Have you got the league on your computer there? Have you got the league table up there?
Yeah.
Because I'd like you to have a look at it. Because I love teams. I love it when you sort of fly under the radar. Man City have dropped points this season. Man United have dropped points. So look where we're sitting. Look at our points.
Yeah.
And who's above us?
Level with Tottenham.
Less said about Tottenham the better. But look above. We've got Bournemouth, Watford, both above us. Man United are below us. Everton are below us. Wolves are a surprise package. What are they doing there? Like they wouldn't have expected to be there, but they've been playing really well.
Yeah.
And I think you look at that, and what points are we on? 9 points.
9, yeah.
9. So so let's go to fourth place. Watford. Where are how many points have they got?
They got 12.
12. So we're within striking distance of the top 4, but we lost our first 2 games, and everyone was hammering us. We're under that radar. We've now had 3 wins on the bounce. I
just want to see them win convincingly. Like it was almost like this morning.
This morning was convincing until
they let
84th minute or something. They let 2 goals in.
I just want to see that dominating performance that they used to have back under the great Wenger years.
Look, I mean,
it's so shaky and it makes me nervous. And
but look at the
fact, against West Ham, that was ridiculous. We should have destroyed West Ham. They shouldn't have got into that game.
You got to remember though, that's a West Ham, Chelsea, Spurs. They're London derbies. Form goes out the window when you play a rival like that. And yes, we should be beating West Ham every single day of the week. But there's something that happens in a derby, and people play better, you know. And West Ham, let's not forget, they spent some money. They would be coming into this season thinking that they should be in that top 10, top 8 sort of positions.
Yeah.
And we were 6th last season, so they would look at us. You know, if you look at just form wise and who, you know, the players that you've got and where they finished and where you want to finish, I think West Ham would go into that game going, well, Arsenal are one of our rivals for those positions. Arsenal go into that game thinking, we have to beat teams like West Ham. If we're going to be in the top 4 and maybe even higher, those away games and those games against people like West Ham and Watford and Wolves are games that we need, like you said, we need to win convincingly and we need to win. But for me, it's we need to win.
Yeah.
Now, I don't care how you do it. If you win 1-0, if you win 2-1 or get an own goal, they score an own goal in the last minute and you grind out the 1-0 result, you know, at the end of the day, it's only 3 points on the board.
Yeah, and it just frustrates me
how it's horrible.
We can go to teams like Chelsea and Man City and Liverpool
and be in the game.
Yeah, be a chance to win it or at least take a point away, and then we go to teams like bloody Cardiff City and shit the bed.
Yeah, and that is it. Last season, these teams that we've just had 3 wins on the bounce. So last year, these were games that we didn't take points at. And that's, I think, the difference with where we are now. We're not the finished article, but where are we sitting now? I think we're a little bit better than where we were last season. We've already probably got a better away form than we had the whole of last season. Yeah. And we're 5 or 6 games in.
But I just don't see the difference between Wenger and Emery if we're going to still do that thing where we play well against the difficult teams and then shit the bed against the shit teams.
Well, the proof will be in the pudding this weekend, won't it? The proof will be...
I understand we're getting the points, but they're not convincing.
They're not convincing, but at the end of the day, points are points.
Yeah.
Now, before Wenger came and we went through, we were one of them teams that, you know, managers were sort of, you know, in and out. George Graham left, and then we had Bruce Rioch and can't remember the other fella's name. He was in for a little while. There was no sort of there was no culture there. It was horrible, and we were playing teams and losing, and we weren't in the top 10. We weren't in the top 6, and we lost a really good manager in George Graham. But the whole team changed when Wenger came in. The whole thing changed.
Yeah,
and I think with Emery, we've got to give him that chance. We've got to let him build the team he wants to build. Well, do you agree? Have you seen enough in the team to think that things have changed?
Well, I think out of the games, I think you should be able to see at least some difference, and I guess there is. I think some of the players are struggling to adapt to Emery.
Are they the players?
I really don't think the
players that
language
he
barrier,
signed, or are they the players that were already here and are trying to get into that system?
The players that were already here.
Yeah. So
I don't think the language barrier is making it easier.
Well, I think
either.
what I said earlier was like with Guardiola and Klopp, that they inherited a team that probably didn't all play the way he wanted to play, and some of them. And look at Liverpool now. Milner, I never rated him, but
he was shit before.
He's so good. He's in the twilight of his career,
and he's Sterling for City as well.
Exactly, exactly. Now these are players that, when those managers took over, you thought they're gone.
Yeah,
they're out of here. He's clearly going to, and you thought other players that maybe would fit in, but they didn't. They weren't in these. Like Joe Hart was the goalkeeper at Man City, and he's a quality goalkeeper. Mingale was the goalkeeper at Liverpool, both amazing goalkeepers.
Yeah.
Who had been signed for decent money. Internationals. And they both are not in them teams anymore.
Yeah.
And mind you, the Liverpool keeper that they did replace him with, he's not there either anymore. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm completely off the ball.
He's gone out on loan, hasn't he, to Besiktas?
He needs to go and...
Why did they loan him? They just need to get rid of him.
Just get rid of him.
I'm pretty sure, buddy, you see better keepers in the weekend league here in Newcastle.
That you don't see any worse, that's for sure. But you know what, though? As much as we laugh about it, I had nothing but grins on my face watching that Champions League final, seeing him do that.
Yeah.
Then crying at the end, and even his own teammates not coming over and talking to him.
Oh, you'd be
They
so
should have shot
furious
him.
at him.
They should have shot him.
Yeah. It's unacceptable.
Unacceptable. Like, oh yeah.
To be
You know,
playing in a professional league,
yeah, but at the end of the day,
getting
like,
millions of dollars.
these are players that the managers have brought in, and you know, some of them work out, some of them don't. And I think what you'll find is there are players in that Arsenal team now that are the Wenger legacy, and some of them will become players that you think, gosh, I didn't even know he had that in his life. I didn't know we had that player.
Hopefully.
And is that Xhaka? I hope it. I really hope it is.
I honestly believe, because I was
He's got enough things there to think that he could do it, but I'm so
like, get rid of Xhaka. We don't need him. He's just
I'm still half
such a
there.
disappointment.
I'm still half there, but
because he'd always be the one that let in the goals. It was him
or
or
got a red
Mustafi.
card, or got a red card when
or got a red,
when you're you're winning 2-1 and he gets a red card 60, 70 minutes in, and then you end up drawing.
Yeah,
that's what Xhaka gives you.
Yeah, but I think that he's always had it to be that better player.
Yeah.
He just never had the
I
chance.
just hope, like you said, I hope that he's one of them players that...
Bringing in Torreira is going to be the best thing that happened to Xhaka.
Let's see, because there was... The game today, Torreira just, for me, was the best player on the pitch.
Yeah.
If he doesn't start against Everton, you'd hope that it's just an injury thing, but I just can't understand it if he doesn't.
Yeah. Well, do you think that he would start now that he's played the Vorskla match? I
think it would come down to fitness.
Yeah.
I think if he's not nursing the injury, I just think the way he played, he got to start. He'd be my pick. He'd be in the team. But yeah, if he's maybe picked up a knock and he played midweek, maybe you do sit him on the bench again for this week and then bring him in. Maybe you think, it's Everton. We need to we should pick up the points there, and you know, why risk Torreira if he's picked up a knock, and we'll keep Guendouzi, bring him back into the team. But
see, I'd like to see Guendouzi and Torreira, because I think they're opposites. I think Torreira is that defensive midfielder sitting in front of the back line, cleaning things up before it gets to the back line. Guendouzi's that, like Xhaka, better going forward, better picking the pass, and potentially scoring. Yeah. I don't see the sense in putting Guendouzi and Xhaka together. I don't understand why you would do that.
Every time Torreira's come on and one of them has gone off, I think we've looked better.
Yeah.
I think the balance in the team has been better.
Yeah.
So are you saying that we should drop Xhaka then?
No. I think start Guendouzi on the bench and bring Guendouzi on for Xhaka as it gets later in the match, because he's got a bit of speed, man.
I think he's got a lot in his locker. Yeah, he's mobile.
He could be that energy that pushes them through that last 10 minutes that Arsenal so often struggle through, or 15, 20 minutes even, and you know, could be it could be a massive surprise, man. That's what I would like to see Emery do.
Yeah, so I think we're both in agreement there. For my mind, Torreira, we should start against Everton.
Yeah.
And starting with Xhaka.
Yeah.
I don't think the way Xhaka's played the last two games, you can't really drop him for that.
Yeah.
I don't really like him, but you can't really drop him for that. So that means Guendouzi has made a couple of little errors.
He's also still young.
He's still very young.
He can,
he's far beyond what I expect. I didn't expect him to be starting the games. When we signed him, I thought he was going to be one of these ones like Mavropanos that's might get a game every now and then, but sits in the reserve. So he's
but congratulations to him, because he's freaking hit it out of the park, man. Like when he started the first few games. And
and he wasn't out of his depth. The thing that surprised me was, even against Man City and Chelsea, he wasn't out of his depth.
No.
We didn't win the games, but he wasn't out of his depth. It wasn't like they ran through him. He did enough there where you go, there's a bit about this guy.
He's like, he came from second division in France, and he's been playing like he belongs in the Premier League the whole time.
Yeah, 100%. So
amazing.
We're in agreement. Torreira starts with Xhaka.
Yeah. Guendouzi on in the
Guendouzi on.
second
Whoever
half.
tires or needs to come off, you bring. It'd be nice to see Guendouzi and Torreira together and see what that dynamic is like.
Yeah.
Because we know what Guendouzi and Xhaka do.
Yeah.
They're very similar. So they do the same sort of thing. So it would be nice for Xhaka to come off and see what that partnership's like.
Yeah. I guess to wrap this up is, what would be your predictions over the next few games? So we've got Everton coming up. Who do you like for? I mean, obviously we want Arsenal to win, but what do you think the scoreline would be?
I would love to see us just do a demolition on them. You know, when they turn up. You know, it might only be 2-0. You know, I'd love to be 3-0, but I'd like to see just a clean sheet and just a solid performance where they weren't even in it. That when you look back and go, that was just 3 points in the bank.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I just want us to win, but I'd love to see that perform against a team that you go. Everyone looks at it and goes, if Arsenal want top four, they should beat this team, and they should really beat them convincingly. And I think if you go there and win 2-0 or 3-0 and keep a clean sheet and just command the game, I walk away from that, and you watching it on telly, you know, we walk away from it and go
happy with that.
Pretty happy with that. You're feeling good.
Yeah. Do you see a similar performance? Or do you want the similar performance against Watford? Of course, you want a similar performance.
No, Watford. Yeah, I'd love to win 4-5 now every game, but Watford, I think, will be tricky. That will be a really because they already are. They already a bogey team for Arsenal. They're already a team that we generally don't do well against, and they're playing really well at the moment. So
they surprisingly get some amazing players. Like they've drawn in some pretty good players, like the guy that came from Barcelona, I think it is. Forgot the right.
I thought Wolves signed the guys from Barcelona, the Gomez and can't remember his other name, the other fella's name, but I'm pretty sure that was Wolves that signed them.
Is it?
Watford had Richarlison that went to Everton. Is it Andre Gomez you're thinking of, the Barcelona player?
Gerard Deulofeu? Wasn't he a Barcelona?
He was a Barcelona player. He was actually with Everton the other last season or the season before.
Yeah, but he's really quick.
He's a good player. I think Barcelona are disappointed they lost him, but they can't guarantee him a starting spot, so he's ended up moving on. Watford are playing really. I mean, they've got a play. Their striker Troy Deeney is like He's basically, if you could draw or put together a striker that will intimidate and Arsenal won't want to play against, that'd be him. He's strong. He's fairly quick. He's physical. Too. He likes to get it. He wants to be really aggressive with them. And Arsenal don't like that. Arsenal like the players where they stand off a little bit and they're a bit more skillful because I think Arsenal can sort of plan their game around that a bit better. They don't like that real confrontation.
I think that's why they struggled against Cardiff is because Cardiff came out and were just so physical.
Well, I think, with Watford, they're a team that notoriously we don't do well against.
Yeah.
And now they're not only do we not do well against, but they're playing really well at the moment. They've taken points off some teams that they're sitting nicely in the league, and they'll be thinking they want to build on that. And they'll go into the game against Arsenal thinking Arsenal are ripe for the picking because they've had some mixed results. They're still not 100%. We can get at them. So forget Everton. I think Everton, we just got to go there and win. Yeah. And convincingly win, and we should do. If we don't beat Everton and we don't win convincingly, I think you sort of go, we're not where maybe me and you think they are. If we go to Watford, and I don't care how we get the points, but if we get 3 points against Watford, because I think the way they're playing, there will be teams sitting in our positions in that sort of top 3, 4, 5, 6 that will go to Watford and they won't, or play Watford and they won't take the points. So for me, that's a game that if we win that, I'll be going, hang on. There is definitely something that's changed.
Yeah. The Europa League group stage, do you think we'll get through that pretty comfortably? It looks like we should.
We should do.
I mean, this morning's game was pretty
This morning
easy.
game was just a hit out, wasn't it, really?
Not that the hardest teams.
No. I think, Europa League, we've just got to... We should be using that Europa League. We should field it. I think Emery will field a strong team.
Yeah.
I think because he's won... I think Sevilla won 3 on the bounce, didn't he?
Yeah,
3 Europa Leagues. So he's got a point to prove in there. I think he'll field a strong team, but I also think he'll field players that maybe aren't always going to get in the team. So you had Welbeck starting today. I think that's a perfect opportunity for someone like Welbeck to start.
Yeah.
I think Leno will until Leno breaks into the Premier League team.
Yeah.
Leno will start all the games in the Europa League, and he should. I think you'll see Lichtsteiner in the Europa League every game. I'd like to see him maybe given the Premier League run, but maybe he's offering Bellerin that bit of a sort of competition via break. Yeah. He's not playing every game.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I think we'll field a strong team in those games.
Looking forward, we've got a bit of a tricky couple of fixtures. Crystal Palace, I know, they're not the heavy weights of the competition, but they can be a bit.
They can be.
Sometimes.
They've taken points off big teams
Straight
before.
after that, you've got Liverpool, and then after that, you've got Sporting, which are the hardest team in our group.
Yeah. So I think.
What do you do when you've got three fixtures?
If I'm Emery, I look at the Europa League games before that Sporting game and go, okay, we've got to take maximum points. Because right when we play Sporting, we've got probably the biggest game we're going to have in the next couple of months, which is Liverpool.
Do you sacrifice the points against Liverpool to play Sporting?
No, because I think if we do enough in the group games, we'll be. I think we've got enough of a team to not lose to Sporting. But for me, you don't sacrifice the Liverpool. It's a huge game.
Yeah.
You know,
you want
we don't want to get beat. We didn't want to get beat by Man City. You don't want to get beat by by Chelsea or Spurs or anyone. But you go to Liverpool, or they come to you, and you want to turn up. You want to put a performance in, and you want to let people know that we might not be winning the league, but we're heading in the right direction. And you don't want people thinking, Arsenal are the easy beats of the top 4 or top 6. Arsenal are the easy beats.
Yeah.
Which is what we've been in the past. We've not taken points off those top 5 or 6 teams. So Liverpool for me is everything's building to that game. And unfortunately for Arsenal, they're coming up against probably, I think, the best Liverpool team I've seen in a long, long time.
Yeah.
Frightening going forward. And they've also fixed a lot of those leaks that they had at the back.
Yeah, I think 170 million plus will do that.
It definitely will, yeah. But we showed enough against Chelsea and Man City to know that we've got it in our locker to actually compete with them.
Yeah.
And, fingers crossed.
Yeah. Rightio. Well, good chat.
Good chat.
Thanks for listening to Planet Arsenal. You can visit us at planetarsenal.com. Make sure to subscribe to this podcast to get your Planet Arsenal weekly fix.